opening was quite striking with the paper bags on their head, but I thought that the piece had a sense of narrative and form and intent with the set pieces that I thought worked quite well and was matched by the style performances earlier in the piece when they were in the opening sequence, and then later when they moved to the more open natural sequence. I thought that they reflected a different type of performance that was supposed to sort of work thematically and emotionally and progressing you through the emotions and the feels of the dance performance. So I thought that the music and the editing really worked well in matching that, and it created a sort of cohesive experience that created a sense of story and narrative for a concept obviously that does not have any dialogue and is only understood through rhythm and performance. I thought it worked quite well in that aspect, and it also had a great sense of scale in terms of, especially towards the end, with the natural backdrop and the cityscape backdrop at the end. I thought create a sort of a big picture or a sense of size or a more emotional depth than you would anticipate. And I thought it ended up being effective because it worked well in a short amount of time in particular.
Liked the kind of transition from being on this set. Well, we see the white background and the sand, and that gives kind of a visual reference and perspective of what the film is going to look like, or so we think. And then once it zooms out, we see, okay, well, this is a set, and you kind of get to see like the behind the scenes of it, and then it transitions and they're outside. And I really like that it kind of, for me, kept me guessing. Like, I thought it was going to be one way, then I saw behind the curtain, and then I got to see a whole different side of this piece. I really enjoyed it. I liked also the transition from the style of dance from the two dancers while they were on the set versus when they were outside, and it kind of went from being more stiff, robotic, more like kind of like more restricted movements versus when they were outside and it was more alive and free and flowing. And you know not a coincidence also that the boxes over their faces have been removed and they're kind of interacting more like people and more like humans now. So I thought it was really, really creative.
First off, the costuming, very dynamic visually. Using these box-like masks with this sort of stoic style of movement, which becomes more fluid midway through once they shift to a second setting outdoors and the masks are no longer in play. The style of the dance changes as along with the music. And there's just a lot of passion that I felt within these performances. It really emoted through the screen in a really powerful way.
We are engrossed in this brown and white space. It is a neutral complex. The paper bags over their head is such a unique approach here. I like it. The simplicity of the costume and space aids you in paying attention to the movement paired with melody here. Uh, Synchronicity plays between the two. This feels elemental, grounding. The bags eventually come off and the beat picks up. This is a moving form of expressionism in more ways than one.
There was very much this kind of uncanny sensation towards it, especially at the beginning. Um, and I think it stems from the fact that uh, these are people, but their faces are hidden and their movements are very stiff and janky. It kind of made it feel like these were like two fleshy machines, like two fleshy robots. Uh, and I might be completely butchering the interpretation, but from that, what I perceived was it kind of felt like when you're holding back who you are to another person because you're afraid of showing them your true self. Because the moment these helmets are removed and our two dancers finally meet for for meet for real, like meet as their true selves, uh, the energy absolutely explodes. Their dancing becomes much more fluid, much more energetic. That slow, stiff, robotic nature is no longer there anymore. And for me, that's kind of the message I got, where it's showing that you don't have to hide yourself away.
It was different. I liked the boxes over the faces, and I just thought it was really interesting and slow body movements. I really thought the lighting during the sunset outside was really beautiful, and the movements at that point, the body movements by the performers were really nice and beautiful, and I really liked the cool music at the end.